What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubae here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today I wanted to talk about something I saw on the news, which honestly kind of surprised me, dude. Officially, no more dollar stores will exist in America. Dollar Tree has officially decided that items are now going to cost $1.25 because, you know, inflation's just going brazy out there. But regardless, let's talk about it.
Nice racking her ass Brazilian, just turned 21, but my bank's a million.
Alright, so one of my favorite memories from my childhood is my Oma taking me to the dollar store and telling me to pick out whatever I wanted. You know, it was honestly like, I felt like a king in those moments. So whenever I saw this, I'm not gonna lie, I did get a little personal sadness from it, just because it seems like America as a whole has been changing a lot for a while. And I know the dollar store is just the dollar store, it's not that deep, but the fact that like even the dollar store is having to change prices due to inflation recently just kind of puts a sour taste in my mouth. Dollar Tree hikes prices 25%. Most items will cost $1.25. Seriously though, I know this isn't a big deal, obviously, like it's just a quarter, but you know, I think at the end of the day what it shows is that the cost of living is definitely on the rise. I don't understand how people can say that like inflation's not happening. If, you know, rent's up 30%, food's up 20%, car prices are through the roof, inflation is affecting everybody in one way or another. Yeah, if you're a billionaire and you own stocks, assets are also going up due to inflation, which is good for you, but it's not necessarily a good thing if you're still getting paid what you were before this all kicked off and everything has risen 20-30%. I can definitely see a situation where it's not a fun world to be living in. The Dollar Tree will soon be the $1.25 tree. The company, one of America's last remaining true dollar stores, said Tuesday it will raise prices from $1 to $1.25 on the majority of its products by the first quarter of 2022. The change is a sign of how the pressures of low-cost retailers face holding down prices during a period of rising inflation. So yeah, like I said, it gets to a point where you just can't afford to sell stuff for $1 anymore. They've been selling stuff for $1 as long as I can remember. The fact they've never had to raise prices before is, you know, crazy in and of itself. But the fact that it's gotten bad enough now where they feel the need that they have to do it is not a good sign in my opinion. I didn't realize that they were the last remaining dollar store. I thought for sure the 99-cent store had to have been a dollar store still. Because like, if it's not the 99-cent store, then what is it? Let's be honest here. If I walked into the 99-cent store and saw something for $9.99, I would be pissed off. That would have me raging, man. I'd be a bull in a china shop. All jokes aside, I think inflation is something that like a lot of people don't think is a big deal, because if, you know, you're making good money, then like, yeah, it sucks, but you don't really notice it as much. But if you're somebody that's really living month to month on a budget, and I think what 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, then having stuff going up and increasing costs is a ginormous deal, especially because it's just a fact that wages haven't necessarily risen as fast as inflation is, especially right now. Like, you can't even argue that that's true. Or that that's not true, because it's just a fact at this point. So yeah, if you haven't gotten, you know, a 20% raise in the last 2 years, you are technically making less money now than you were then, just because everything costs so much more. Selling stuff strictly for $1 hampered Dollar Tree, the company said, and forced it to stop selling some customer favorites. Raising prices will give Dollar Tree more flexibility to reintroduce those items and expand its selection and bring new products and sizes to its stores. So obviously when you're selling things on super low profit margins, a quarter increase, you know, doesn't sound like a lot, but that is 25% increase on your margins. Hopefully that's all profit, you know, if not, then they're getting squeezed. But regardless, I do think this is definitely better for the Dollar Tree overall. If you're shopping there, then they're definitely going to be able to have better stuff, newer stuff, I'm sure, because, you know, if you can pay 25% more for products, that definitely increases your quality, I hope. Imagine they just like don't change anything. It's literally the same product. They're just charging more. I've seen some articles talking about how there's some companies out there that are raising prices more than inflation, you know, like they're just trying to squeeze out some extra profit. I hope that's not the case here, but like companies in this country have made me so cynical. Whenever I'm like, nah, someone wouldn't do that. That's pretty like evil. I'm like, oh wait, someone would make money for doing it. Okay, yeah, they're probably doing it. And it's all right. What am I gonna do about it? I'm just a YouTuber. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if they could technically do the $1.15 store, but a dollar quarter makes everyone a lot more money. And I don't know. I'm not a financial expert. I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but you know, I do wonder if there is some of that going on. Dollar Tree also said that hiking prices will help the company increase its profit margins by mitigating historically high merchandise cost increases, including freight and distribution costs, as well as wage increases. This is the appropriate time to shift away from the constraints of the $1 price point, CEO Michael Witnitsky said in a statement. Yeah, that's the issue with inflation, is it's literally affecting everything. You know, I usually, and you know, like outside of economic crises, it tends to focus on one sector or another, but what, used cars are selling for more than new ones in some instances. I know freight is taking forever and costing more, wages are increasing. Literally everything is just starting to cost more across the board. So I do believe that like being constrained to only being able to sell stuff for $1 was starting to be hampering on everything, because if everything starts to cost 20% more, you know, that profit margin just isn't there anymore. You might be able to pay like 7% more for shipping if the rest of your costs remain the same, but if you have to pay 30% more for everything across the board, yeah, that's just not a feasible business model anymore. I also will say it's good to hear them mentioning wage increases. I do think a part of the problem is, you know, we're not paying people enough. Obviously, I think the biggest cause of this, I'm not a financial expert, I'm just talking out of my buns here, is the amount of money that we've been printing, dude. Like, we literally are just printing like there's no tomorrow. As long as they continue to do that, assets are going to rise in value, you know, and things are going to continue to cost more. Inflation's going to keep going brazy. And if they slam the brakes on it and hike interest rates up, I definitely think we could see the bubble popping. So, all in all, we're definitely in a tricky position, and I'm very glad I'm not in charge of the economy. There's been an activist investor in the company as well who built a stake in Dollar Tree and has started tapping a former Dollar General CEO to push for changes at the company. Although Dollar Tree said its decision to permanently raise prices was not a reaction to short-term inflation, one analyst was unconvinced. The pace of the rollout, along with the engaged investor, clearly suggests otherwise. Kelly Banya, an analyst at BMO Capital Markets, said in a note to clients Tuesday. Yeah, I love this, bro. They're like, no, it's not inflation. We're you know, having to raise the price because everything's costing more money, but it's not inflation. It's like, okay, well, then what? I don't know what you would call that then. If all of your costs have increased and there's not really an explanation for it, so you have to raise your prices too. It sounds like inflation. I love that though, bro. The company obviously doesn't want to come out and say that they're being squeezed by inflation because we don't really know when it's going to end. So they don't want to say that there's potentially them having to raise prices more and more. I don't think that's going to boost investor confidence. As for the activist investors that are pushing for more changes, this is what I'm saying as to why I could see a situation where they're trying to squeeze a little bit more profit than absolutely necessary as well, because if that activist investor gets them to post a lot more profit, the shares go up, he makes a crap ton of money, and he doesn't really care whether or not, you know, maybe this guy, not this particular guy, let me say that. I don't know what this particular activist investor is asking for, but some activist investors don't really care what the end result is as long as the share value goes up. So, I don't know, bro. I don't know. The situation's just messy. Inflation is happening. If you are denying it at this point, then I think you're just not looking around and seeing what's happening. We're in a tricky spot that's going to be difficult to get out of. It's literally affecting everything. If even the dollar store is having to raise prices 25% to keep up, you know it can't be that great. On that note, though, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Like I said, I'm not a financial expert. Don't take any of this as advice because, you know, I am talking over Valorant gameplay. Let's use some context here. And on top of that, I do not have a finance degree. I just don't listen to me on this stuff. I mean, listen to the video, but, like, don't base your... You guys know what I'm saying. Whatever. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. You will get visited by a horde of monkeys. Subscribe if you're new, turn on notifications. If you really want to help me out, I will put a link to the intro song down below, along with a link to my podcast, The Scuffedcast, or of course, use code Scrubae at the G Fuel checkout. Helps me out a crap ton, and I'd really appreciate it. And last but certainly not least, I did go ahead and, you know, put some of my story times on Spotify, so if you haven't checked those out, then you should. I'll put that link at the top of the description. And, yeah, on that note, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.